Welcome to Beyond the Syllabus, where we talk with superintendents, curriculum leaders, and education innovators who are rethinking what school can be and how it can better serve the academic and personal needs of every learner. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond the Syllabus. Super excited for our guest today. We have Vicki Bayer, superintendent at Green Bay Area Public School District. Vicki has served over 30 years in public education, working in roles all the way from classroom teacher, now as a superintendent. She's a National At-Risk Education Network Jones Award for Child Advocacy Award winner, as well as an Insights Woman of Influence and Paul Harris Fellow Award winner. Vicki, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, truly.
Super excited for our conversation. You've been through a lot of different things in education in your career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start by a high and a low here. What at this point in your career has been the absolute high, and what has been the absolute low for you?
That's a great question. Absolute high is anytime we see our students succeed. You know, seeing shifts in academic outcomes, graduation is always a big high for us. Anytime students win, and we've had some really good examples of this, not even academic related, just inner city schools that have not seen a lot of success, even like athletically over the last year because of the commitment from the community. We're seeing a rise there. That excites me, and I'm so happy for our community and our kids with that. Low would be public school funding in the state of Wisconsin has not been adequate. So since my tenure, we've been dealing with budget deficits that eventually are going to impact our student outcomes. So that I think would be the lows.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and we'll go into that a little bit deeper later on in the episode. But that student success piece that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
you bring up how it's not just about academics, right? So when we say student success, what does that mean to you?
Uh, Public schools are essential. I would hope we all can agree on that. I know
100%.
politically there are people that don't agree. To my core, I believe that it's essential to our society. So we should be graduating students that are college, career, and community ready. And that doesn't just mean I have to be academically successful, A's, B's, to succeed in my next part of life, 18 and older. Um, I want our students to be well-rounded. I want them to be happy. I want them to be contributors to our community and our society. And that takes exposure to a lot of different things, not just math and reading, but there's a reason we have Fayed. There's a reason we have art. There's a reason we have music. There's a reason that we have a variety of co-curriculars so that they can dabble into different things and start to learn what excites me, what's going to make me happy as an adult. So that's
Yeah.
what I picture when we say well-rounded.
Yeah, I like that picture a lot. I mean, well-rounded exposure to a bunch of different things. I think it's easy in public education to get tunnel vision on those core subjects, right? Oh my God, that's the state test. Oh my God, those are the standards. But life is, I mean, this sounds so silly to say because it's so obvious, but life is so much more than ELA and math and STEM and all these things, right?
Right.
Um, how can we do a better job of placing emphasis on those extra core curricular things without losing sight of the importance of those core curricular things?
Funding to support it.
There you go.
I mean, what are the first things that are cut?
Yeah.
For us as a district, we look at, well, the first things are, what are the things that are going to have the least amount of negative impact on our staff and our students? But eventually, when you have to start making harder decisions, you have to look at what's mandated and what do we have funding for, and then the other things get cut. Art, band. We haven't done that here, but I know of other districts across the country that have because they're not required.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's a shame that that's the first place they go when oftentimes those are the most passionate, happiest places
Mm.
within a school.
And keep kids in school,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Right. So you talk about these budget deficits. Now, I read back in 2022, you guys faced a pretty severe budget deficit of $36 million. Can you
Yeah.
share a little bit more about that? What was that like for you? What was that like for the district?
Yeah. It was a horrible time.
Yeah.
It was a horrible time. Um, I'll tell you what got us through it, was I'm surrounded by an incredible team. They stay steady during high stress times. And we brought the community in and met with all of the stakeholders to talk about what are our priorities. And of course, we all agreed our children are number one. Which things are mandated by either state, federal, or board policy that we absolutely have to continue doing. A tier three was what are the things that we have that are nice, but we really don't need.
Hmm.
And then there's the fourth tier that we're, these aren't essential. They're kind of fluff. We can probably survive and still be successful without them.
Yeah.
So going through that process, we were able to identify enough to make cuts. We have a declining enrollment, so we were able to decrease staff, but not through layoffs. It was through attrition or retirements. So we were able to balance the budget. Um, Thankfully, we were able to balance the budget.
Yeah. It seems like you guys managed that pretty. I mean, I don't know if smooth is the right word. I'm sure it was pretty chaotic, but it seems like you guys managed that pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. I would say we did have to close some schools. Okay, that's never an easy thing to do. We have a lot of
Yeah.
neighborhood schools, and honestly, that's a model that I think helps communities feel more connected to public schools. To close them is very sad. It's happening across the state of Wisconsin right now, so we're not the first, and we won't be the last.
Yeah.
Um, but there are difficult decisions that had to be made that did did have an impact on our community. But for the most part, our community really trusted the decisions.
That's great. It's always so great when you have a community behind you. I mean, I've spoken with district leaders where, the community maybe makes things a little bit more difficult than they should be, but having that support of all stakeholders, I'm sure, just means the world in those types of situations.
Mhm. Have
So as much as oh, sorry, go ahead.
have you been to Green Bay ever?
I have not.
This is an amazing community. You should come here sometime.
I would love to.
It's more than the Green Bay Packers.
Are we Packers fans though?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, all
yeah.
right.
You can
Go
wear
go
whatever
Chiefs.
jersey you want. You'll be welcome. The community is that kind.
I
Um,
love it.
but they trust and love their public schools. This is a very diverse community that
Mhm.
deeply cares about our students, and, it's an amazing thing to see.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I got chills hearing you
Yeah.
say that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I would love to come up for a visit at some point.
You're welcome anytime.
Um, Thank you. I appreciate that. As much as you're able to speak on it, what's kind of going on throughout Wisconsin, right? It seems like this isn't just a Green Bay thing. What's going on at the state level? What's causing a lot of this?
Um, right now, we have a state legislature that is, the majority doesn't seem to have, doesn't support public education.
Mm,
They've moved to a voucher system for private schools. So essentially in Wisconsin, we now have two school systems, public and private, both funded by taxpayers.
really?
Yes, it's not sustainable. It's
Doesn't
not.
that kind of defeat the purpose of a private school?
Well, this is something you and I can talk about separately.
Okay,
But
perfect.
yeah, I have a lot of concerns about it. Even beyond the fact that up until this next cycle for property taxes, what funds were given to private schools were kept secret. And in Green Bay, our city council pushed for transparency in those funds. So for the first time this fall, our property owners will actually see how much money they are paying to fund private schools in our area.
Wow.
And for our district alone, we are we are paying about I think the last one was $12 million from our community to private schools where there's zero. I don't want to go too far on this, but there's zero accountability. They don't
Wow.
have to. They receive the funds and don't have to say how they're using them.
Wow, that's stranger than anything I've heard
Oh,
in
yeah.
the education space. I think it's a pretty generally agreed upon idea that if you're doing something and there's not transparency behind it, then there might be a problem with what you're doing.
Agreed.
So I'll say that. I won't make you say that, but
I don't
um,
disagree. I don't
yeah,
disagree.
yeah,
I
that's interesting.
yeah, I understand that there's a role for private schools. I think we need to have them because
Yeah,
public doesn't work for everybody. But if they're going to be receiving taxpayer dollars, then they need to be held to the same standards we are.
100%, and at least just the same level of accountability and transparency.
Right. Right.
Wow. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to continue that conversation offline for sure. So talked about that budget deficit. That was in 2022,
Mhm.
and 2022 was post what I imagine was the toughest time in your career, COVID. Can you talk to me a little bit about what it was like to be in your position during COVID? What exactly what you're doing? How did your job change? How instant was it? Like, give me everything.
Yeah. I was in the deputy superintendent position when COVID occurred. And I'm really proud of the superintendent, Michelle Langenfeld at the time, who relied on, wisely relied on our community health leaders to help us determine what action we should be taking. And when COVID hit in that March of 2020, we heard from the hospitals loud and clear that closing the public schools would be in the best interest to slow down any transmission. So we
Yeah.
did that. We heeded that. And like any other community in this country, there are about 50% that hated that and 50% that thought it was a good thing to do. So it was an incredibly difficult time. Our staff was amazing, as teachers across the country were. They transitioned very quickly. They worked their butts off to make sure they were able to transfer the lessons they were doing face to face into something online. Um, I hope we never ever have to go through something like that again.
Yeah, that
I
was
weren't teachers great?
they were. I mean, listen, I was in high school when that happened.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that was my so March 2020 was the junior spring of my junior year.
Oh
So we had
no.
thankfully we had finished basketball season at that point. But then going into senior year, basketball season was a whirlwind for sure.
Oh my gosh. Did you get to play at all or
We did. So the season got pushed back. We ended up not starting until probably like mid-spring or so mid-spring of 2021. And so weirdly, we went all the way to the state championship, so that ended up being like mid-July,
oh my
which was
gosh.
weird because we were graduated and done with high school, but still playing high school basketball games.
Oh, wow.
Um, so yeah, it was interesting, but kind of the tiers that we had to take to get to that point. I mean, at first it was like we could be outside, but we couldn't be within 6 feet of each other. And
Yeah.
then we could be outside and be near each other. And then we could be outside and touch basketballs, but not the
Mm,
same basketball. We
mm.
each had to have our own basketball.
Oh my
And
god.
then we could have the same one. And then we'd go inside, but separate basket. It was like a whole
Oh,
thing. So it was a wild time. But yeah, I mean, everyone was so like looking back on it, everyone was so amazing in every part of it, just like the ability to adapt that quickly,
mhm.
especially in a space with kids who don't listen, you know? So yeah, it's pretty fascinating,
Oh.
at just everything that was going on.
Did you win?
So we lost in the Division 1 CIF championship, and then we lost again in the Division 1 state championship.
Oh.
So we decided as a team that we would have rather just not make it to one of them and win the other than make it to both and lose both. So at least we would have had a
Oh,
ring, but
yeah. Well,
yeah,
congrats on making it that far.
thank you. Yeah, it was a fun and weird season for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. But yeah, COVID. I mean, so teachers went online. They were great about going online. How did, other than the obvious of like, okay, now we're on Zoom virtual, like, did initiatives change? Did goals change? Was it kind of just like survival mode? Can you talk to me a little bit more about like the classroom specific piece of that?
Yeah, I will tell you that internally, our message to our teachers was, do everything you can to make it the best experience, but we
Yeah.
also acknowledge that this quick transition is going to make it very difficult to achieve academically at the rate that we had expected.
Hmm.
So there was a lot of grace,
Yeah.
with the understanding that you didn't get into teaching. Most of our teachers did not get into it to teach virtually.
For sure. For sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
what a wild ride, but you guys made it out on
We
the
did-
other side.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk now about like 2025 Green Bay. What are some things that you're super proud of, super excited about that's going on in your district today?
You talked about COVID. So we just had our admin treat last week, and I reminisced a little bit about the year that we came back from COVID. So it would have been your senior year. We had the theme "Don't Stop Believing." We have a theme every
Love it.
year. So don't stop believing because we wanted to focus on hope. We wanted to give hope to the kids, to the community, to our staff. So we spent that whole year just getting back into the groove of what is in person. Um, at elementary level and middle at that time, when you were a senior,
Hmm.
things were very chaotic. Some of those
Yeah.
kids, it was their first experience with face to face. So that was a tough year. And then last year, our theme was Together We Are One, because we wanted to ensure that our community had faith in our ability to be successful with our students. And we wanted to make sure that um, we recognize we can't be successful as a district unless the community is right by our side. We
Yeah.
need them. We opened our doors, and not only did we open our doors, we went to their spaces. So we spent last year really targeted on intentional community engagement, and it paid off. We entered into partnerships we never had before, and we are collaborating at a rate with our community that we've never done before, at least in my tenure. So I shouldn't say never, but it's not been my experience. Um, so this year, our theme is To the Stars, because I
Love
believe
it.
that the foundation's been laid. Um, we've got everybody back on track after COVID. We've got this great community partnership collaboration happening. And now it's the time to stretch our expectations, to challenge our teachers and our students for more, to
Yep.
reach for the stars.
I
Isn't
love
that
it.
cool?
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I love the theme every year. That's
yeah,
such a cool, like, just culture setting thing to have around the district.
yeah. It
That's
means a
amazing.
lot, and we have an
Yeah.
amazing, communications team that comes up with logos that go along with it.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah,
That's all. Yeah, I would love to see some of that stuff. That's really cool.
yeah, I'll send it
So
your way.
talking about culture and kind of just stuff throughout the district, how, as superintendent, what are some things as a leader that you try to instill kind of it with your immediate team? And then how did you get that to translate all the way down to the classroom?
At the leadership level, it's really about putting faith and trust in our teachers, and actually all staff across the board. We have about 4,000 staff and volunteers in the district any given day. That's the number of adults in the buildings. Um, so it's really about building a culture of we believe in you, we trust you. We're going to give you the tools you need to be successful, and we're really here to support rather than dictate. Now, there are certain things, obviously, that we need to because of legislation or policy, but for the most part, our teachers are professionals. They've been professionally trained. We should treat them as such.
100%. I
Yeah.
like that a lot. I think that level of respect and trust to teachers could easily translate into a level of respect and trust from teacher to student as well.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing where oftentimes students are just kind of told what to do, right? This is our schedule. This is what we have to get through.
Mm.
But imagine being a person, right? As an adult, if I just sat here and told you things to do with no reason to do it, you'd be like, Aiden, I'm not going to do that. What are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
Explaining the purpose and understanding the value of what you're doing. I mean, that was my experience as a student where I felt like I never understood the real world purpose of why we were doing what we were doing.
Mhm.
And whether I was stubborn or one of those kids, it was hard for me to engage in something that like I didn't get it. I didn't see the reason,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times the question of like, why do we have to do this? Like it's kind of like a cliche, funny thing to talk about, right?
Yeah.
But that's a real thing. Like, we should be totally aware of why we're doing what we're doing,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. I had an algebra teacher in high school, when we were asking, "Why are we learning this?" You know, the same question every kid asks in math
Mhm.
class, like, this won't even apply to me in
Yep.
my life." And now
Yep.
we have computers that can do the math for us. Um, and his response, so this is back in 1984, that tells you how old I am, stuck with me. He said, "I'm not teaching you necessarily how to do the math, but instead how to learn."
Yeah.
And that really hit me, like, yeah, why wouldn't we want to stretch our brain a little bit and learn different ways to learn?
That's so good. I wanna meet whoever said that because that's a good line, and that speaks to what I believe, in terms of a pedagogical shift away from a subject-based model
Yeah,
into a skills-based model,
right.
right? We're not learning the Pythagorean theorem so that we can walk into our work every day and find the hypotenuse of right triangles,
Yeah, you got
right?
it.
That's not
You
why we're
got it.
learning it.
You
We're
got it.
learning it to better understand situations where there's known variables and unknown variables.
Mhm.
We're learning it as a means to, like you said, stretch our brain,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
exercise. It's
yeah,
learning how to learn.
yeah,
And so if we stop fixating so much on the subject, on the actual material, and we place the emphasis on what I believe is truly the most important piece, which is the skill and the practice,
yeah,
then that allows us to kind of have more flexibility with students and engage them with things that are actually meaningful, right? Because there's not one way to practice solve for situations where there's known variables and unknown variables.
yeah,
There's a multitude of ways,
right.
but we're so fixated on that one
The
standard,
right
that one
answer.
topic,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah,
we lose sight of, like, what is it that we're actually hoping to gain out of this?
that's really good. Are you gonna be a teacher?
I am not, but I hope to help millions of teachers across the country.
Okay, okay,
Yes. Yes.
alright.
We spend time in classrooms all over the place. I mean, we're in classrooms almost every week during the school year. In fact, by the time this episode comes out, we'll be a month or so into the school year, but today is our first day in a classroom actually. I'm actually sitting in one of our schools right now in Indiana, so shout out to our Indiana crew.
Yeah,
But yeah, being in classrooms, being with teachers and students is I love it. It's the best
yeah,
part of my job for sure.
yeah, it shows.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
So listen, one thing that I read about your background, which I am super, super amazed by and would love to hear more about, is back in 2014, you had the Minoka Hill School opened, right?
yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that? There's some amazing stats I read on that, but would love to hear it from you.
Yeah, Dr. Rosa Minoka Hill School, opened in 2014 in Green Bay. It is a K-12 alternative school for students that struggle for a variety of reasons, behavior, not academic. It's primarily behavior. So um, they um, they were typically enrolled in our school if the traditional classroom setting um, was something that they were disruptive in, and the traditional school wasn't able to help manage those behaviors. Okay, does that make sense? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
could be for special education reasons. Could be just I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, and I
Yep.
can't handle school. We also had the students. This is one thing I love about Green Bay. Uh, when students are expelled, we don't throw them away. How cool is that? How cool
Terrible.
is that? So we say to those students, you know what? You screwed up. You made a mistake, but that's not going to define who you are.
Mhm.
We're going to continue your education at Minoka Hill. You're going to get an opportunity to graduate. And um, I can't see it any different than this moment. The decision you made doesn't define who you are. There's
Yeah.
a future ahead of you. And I got to tell you, we increased the graduation rate by doing this school, and those kids I run into in our community, they're benefiting our community today, and they're better off because they have their degree.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's a great school. It's a great
That's
model.
awesome. That's
Mhm.
cool. What would be any advice that you would give to other superintendents around the country if they have a student population or something in the community where you think a school like this could really help?
It It is the answer. You have to think about the long term. Yep, expelling a student for being naughty. Yep, they're out of the classroom. We don't have to deal with them anymore. But what becomes of them when
Hmm.
they're 18 and now they're already going to make less money because they don't have their high school diploma? Um, we have to think long term about the impact this has. And I know there are a lot of districts across the country that have creative ways to ensure that those students have access to an opportunity to get their diploma.
Yeah,
I would encourage any superintendent to not throw those kids away.
for
Um,
sure.
I will admit there are some kids that just won't for whatever reason. They have things going on in their life. They might have mental health issues for a variety of reasons. They won't take advantage of that opportunity. But we have evidence. We have evidence that the majority of them do.
Yeah, the numbers speak for themselves.
Mhm.
I love it. That's super cool. When I read about that and read about the increased graduation rates throughout the district, and I can just imagine, I mean, like the feeling of being expelled and just being an immediate outcast,
Yeah.
right? And feeling this immediate sense of like, wow, I do not belong here. I'm not worth any of this. But then being able to be given that second chance
Yeah.
and have the opportunity to do it over a little bit
Mhm.
and succeed with your peers and come out on the other side.
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing opportunity that you guys give those students. That's super cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's a gift to the community, truly, and to those children. It wasn't my brainchild. Claudia Henriksen was the executive director of student services. She's the one that had this vision, and I was just
Awesome.
fortunate enough to be able to be part of bringing it to life.
Shout out to Claudia and the
Mhm.
rest of the Green Bay team.
Yeah,
Super cool.
you should
So
you should
listen,
come and
Vicky,
see it sometime. Come and
I would
see it
love to.
sometime.
Listen, I'm gonna come up, spend some time in the community. We'll go to a Packers game. We'll do the whole
Okay.
thing.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm curious. How did you get here? Like 30 years in education, you spent a lot of time in this field, right?
Mhm.
Why did you start originally, and what keeps you going?
Uh, Started in education initially because I saw the impact it had on me. And I knew that doors were open for me because of my teachers, so I wanted to do the same for others. Um, what was the other part of the question?
What keeps you going? 30 years in.
Oh, kids and staff. Teachers are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Teachers are
They really
amazing.
are.
They're a great
When
group.
you're on the other side of it, and by other side, I mean when I'm not sitting in their classroom as a student, like seeing
Uh,
all that's going on, it's cool. Like I'm very grateful to have the perspective leaving the classroom, but then entering it again from this lens. It's super cool.
yeah, I've been fortunate to be in 3 districts now: Wild Rose, Nina, and Green Bay, and every single time the teachers are still the same. They care
Yeah.
deeply about our kids, and you couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
It's really amazing work. So you talk about like your experience as a student and you wanted to kind of give that back. Can you talk about your K-12 experience? What were some of the things that really resonated with you? What were some of the most impactful moments and what were some of the most frustrating things?
As a student, um, I went to and I graduated from Pembine High School. My graduating class was 21 students. It
Wow.
was really, really cool, and I would recommend it for anybody that has an opportunity to go to a
Yeah,
small
my
school.
graduating class was like 800, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, that ceremony had to be long.
Oh yeah.
Ours
Yeah, it was
was
a tough
not.
one. Yeah, yours is probably short and sweet.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was really, it was a great educational experience. We had fantastic teachers for such a small district. And I had a coach who was also our English teacher, and he really challenged me both academically and athletically. And he was really the inspiration. Dennis Finger, great guy. I told a story recently that we had to do a paper, and I did mine about the Iran hostage situation that was happening. Again, that's how old I am. It was happening at that time, and he kept marking it up with red pen, like redo this, and I was so
Yeah,
frustrated. But by the end of it, I had a really good paper.
there you go.
So he challenged me. He stretched me academically to think of different ways to better express myself in written form. So that resonated with me, and like I said, made me want to become a teacher as well.
Yeah, that's super cool. It's amazing how formative those experiences are in
Yeah.
both a positive and negative way,
Yeah.
right? Like looking
Well,
back, you connect the dots of like, oh, interesting. This really inspired me to do this, this, and that,
yeah.
right? But when you're in the moment, like you don't think those things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What were some parts of K-12, and it sounds like you had maybe a more unique experience with such a small class and stuff like that. But like, what were some of the maybe structural parts that didn't resonate with you or you saw not resonate with others?
I would say back then, I think this is the, like, late '70s, early '80s, that structure, the traditional structure worked.
Hmm. Why?
Uh, I don't think we had as many distractions. So I never really thought about that, and I will spend time thinking about it, but my immediate response is, there are so many distractions today.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have cable TV, we had 3 channels. We didn't have cell phones. You didn't get to listen to your favorite song anytime you wanted to. You literally had to sit by the radio and wait.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a slower time. It was a simpler time, and I think with that, that structure worked then.
Hmm. Interesting. So through your education career over the last 30 years, when did you really feel like that structure stopped working?
Um, COVID really opened my eyes to that. And I will say, the structure didn't work for every student ever.
Yeah.
So that's why Dr. Rosa Minoka Hill makes sense, right?
Hmm.
But COVID really opened our eyes to the fact that it's not just a small segment anymore. There are more and more students that sitting in a classroom in the rows, having the same instruction at the same pace as 29 other people isn't maybe the best way to educate students.
That's really what drives me. I mean, that's our mission at Unique Learn is the idea that every student needs something different, right?
Um,
And thinking beyond just like who are they as a student sitting at this desk? Who are you as a person?
yeah,
Right? How can we understand you, Vicky, or me, Aidan, and the things that I care about, the things that
really,
are important to you, your background? Because at the end of the day, this experience is meant to bolster us into the rest of our life,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so the more that we can understand each student, the more that we can address them as an individual, I
Mhm.
think the better off everyone is.
You need to come to Green Bay,
I would love to. What
because
give me a date. I'll be there.
okay, yeah, well, let's connect about that. I'm
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
I want to take you to. We have a public charter school in our district. We have
Hmm.
two that both are fantastic, but the one I think about when you're talking is Northeast Wisconsin School of Innovation.
Okay.
It's a public charter school in our district on the Northeast Wisconsin Technical College campus. So we have a school 6th through 12th grade on our technical college campus, and
That's pretty cool.
it's proficiency based. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
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 You like that.
Yeah, that's the other shift. So I mentioned the shift from subject-based to skill-based. The other shift is from time-based to
Yes.
proficiency-based, where this idea that just because you go from 3rd grade to 4th grade, you move on,
Yeah.
right? September to what does September mean? What does August mean?
Yeah.
Nothing,
Yeah.
right? And so what ends up happening is students with 50% learning gaps, 20% learning gaps, whatever it is, they go on
Yeah.
and that gap starts to compound.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get to, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, whatever, and that student is now one of those students who feels like an outcast, who feels stupid, not because they are stupid at
Right.
all,
Right.
but because the system and the structure has pushed them
Yeah.
along in a way where
Yeah.
they're in that situation.
And why does their age factor into the curriculum they're exposed to?
Right. What does that have to do with anything?
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. I would love, we need to go deeper on that
Yeah.
for sure.
It's a
That's
really great school. Jason Johnson is the principal, and it was his vision. Yeah, I want you to meet him.
that's awesome. Yeah, I would love to. I'm curious. So it's a charter school within your public school district.
Right.
How does that work?
Yeah. Wisconsin allows for public charter. All it means is that well, it's part of a district, so we have governance authority over it, but they also have an independent governance board. We work in collaboration with them. But having it as a charter allows them more flexibility. So they don't have to follow a lot of the rules that our Department of Instruction puts on us. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Hmm.
So, how, like, is there a limit on how many of those you can have or how many students you can have in there?
There isn't.
So, in theory, why don't we just make everything that and then no one has to follow
Yeah,
the
that's
rules of the
funny.
instructional
I know.
department or whatever?
That's actually crossed my mind. And as our state legislature becomes more and more anti-public education, I keep thinking, why don't we convert into a private school district?
Yeah, right. You get tax money anyway,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's really interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to learn more about the state legislature and kind of the reasons behind this and the logic behind it. Because yeah, it almost seems like if you're not playing dirty, like you're getting screwed a little bit.
yeah. Aiden, yeah. Not to get too political, but I think we have gotten to the point where we need to start thinking in terms of the way they do it,
Yeah.
because it seems to be working.
Yeah. I mean, you're either on the right side of the wave or the wave's crashing down on you, right?
Right.
So,
But
yeah, that's super interesting. I'm excited to learn more about that. Um, so listen, as we kind of get towards the end here, I know we started with your highs and lows, but what are some of the things that as you look forward to the rest of your career, you're super, super stoked about?
oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Academically, our kids have not been really successful. We're a large urban district. We're the fourth
Mhm.
largest in the state of Wisconsin. That's no excuse. It's just our reality. And we recently changed our literacy curriculum at the elementary. And I was showing the preliminary results last week, and I love what I'm seeing.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So
When did you
we're on
switch
the
that
right track.
curriculum? Last year?
Last year, we did a pilot the year before, implemented last year, and results are
Nice.
coming through.
And they're looking good.
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm curious to learn more about that one as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, Vicki, thank you so much for coming on. Enjoyed our conversation. Any final notes, any shout outs to the community? How can people find you? How can people connect with you?
As I said before, this is an amazing community. Green Bay is a great place to be. And if any of you are looking for a job, reach out. It really is. We have a 92% retention rate for our staff. It's
Wow.
the best in for urbans in Wisconsin. So people love it here, and there's a reason because we have good things happening. Aiden, I can be found. My email address is on our website. I'm also on LinkedIn. I love to collaborate with other leaders and teachers. So if anybody wants to reach out, please go ahead. And you need to get your butt here. I'll show you around.
Listen, give me a date before it gets too cold. I don't need to see my breath.
Right, that's fair.
Yeah, there we go. All right, Vicki. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening. Got an idea, a story, or a question about what we discussed today? We'd love to hear from you. To learn more about Unique Learn, follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube, and visit uniquelearn.co.